So I'll skip directly to the class materials, which I will need to discuss more details. So what is research? Let's go through step by steps and slowly hope that you can get a big pictures on what exactly is research. Well, without going into the details on the all those descriptive words that I put on the pages, you can see that directly from the word research, there are two important combinations of words that make the meanings of the words research, and one of them is the re, which is again and again, and the other one is the search, which is the searching. So it means that the success and the objective of research is for you to continue to search again and again in order to gain a good understanding of a particular phenomena, which is to gain knowledge, which is to gain wisdoms, which is to establish a good attitudes, a good understandings of something that is very important. And that something that is very important is unlimited in the world. It could be about strategies, it could be about competitive advantage, what exactly gets in competitive advantage. It could be about a quality life, it could be about the tourist destinations, or anything that you want to search. The key thing is that you have to search again and again, and in searching for what? Searching to understand that particular things that you're looking for, like tourist destinations, what really attracts the tourists, and your quality of life, what exactly is quality of life, and why it is so important, and the strategy, and how do we search? That is the key. That is something that I hope you all in this class will be able to learn and eventually master it. It is not straightforward, because research is not actually is supposed to be the 4th year university class, and it's not only that. It's not only the 4th year university. You in master's degree you will study it again, and in PhD degree it is the whole 4, 5, 6 years. Every day you are working on research. So research is the ultimate studying process, and there are a lot of details getting into the research, and unless we are dedicated, committed to understanding that process, and be hands-on and do a lot of readings, not only the reading on the slide that I present to you, but the reading that you have to do. We call literature reviews, meanings to review the literatures, the publications, the things that people has already summarized, and things that people has already introduced, and about their work and their achievement, and so you have to do a lot of your reading. So let's go through it step by step. We can't, I can't really make you to be a masters within one day or a couple hours, or class. So it's a progressive, it's a step-by-step process. So hopefully this class will get you somewhere. And the more you devote to this class, the more we can go deeper. So hopefully you will learn something about it. So this page talks about the research is inquiring, again, searching, right? Inquiring. And when we say searching, it is not only about looking into, searching. When we search, we are human being, and when we search, we also try to investigate something deeper, wider, and we got to investigate, inquiry into every perspective of that particular phenomenon. Why is that? Why exactly that particular phenomena happens? Oh, I mean, for example, why some companies succeed in that particular situation and why another company is not successful in that particular situation. And so who is making it successful? In what way it is successful? What are the issues involved that makes it successful? What is the complexities of that particular phenomenon? Things like that, such as the environments of the business in a systematic manners. Systematic. We will go through it again. Systematic. For example, I'll give you an example for systematic in the sense that, for example, in a qualitative research, meaning looking into interviews, searching, inquiring, investigating something through interviews and to qualitative forms like descriptive words rather than quantitative statistical words. Uh, and systematic in the sense that you have to interview people and then analyze what they say and put what they say into some sort of theoretical form. And systematic in the quantitative sense is that you probably have to read literature reviews to understand the existing theoretical structures or knowledge of that particular phenomenon, and probably put into questionnaire. Because when you put into questionnaire and that with the indicators like quantitative indicators, which we'll go through again later, you can gain some numbers, right? You can gain some 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and from that numbers you can perform some statistical analysis and eventually gain some understanding whether the theoretical forms that you suggest in the beginning it's making sense. For example, if you say that competitive advantage, in the sense of cost, leaderships, and differentiations or niche, are three very important for the industries or any companies to win. And if that's so, I mean, if that is so, the statistical support should be there. And that is called systematic. And again, you see, it is a very complicated issue. And again, that's the reasons why I say, do not need to memorize and worry. It is a hands-on processes, and it really takes time. And they go all the way to your master's and PhD degrees, and every day of your PhDs is working on the same process, on the same issue. So it's a never-ending process. Even after you graduated as a teachers, as a professors, you still have to continue to work on research and master it more and more to be more and more competent. Research is about searching and inquiry again into something very important, and that something very important, whether it's about your life or it's about strategy, it's about customers, it's about consumer behavior, it's about brand, or it's about why people fail in life, or the women's entrepreneurship, whatever. It's about getting the knowledge, understanding. So the more knowledge we have, the more we develop a good understanding of the phenomena. And again, when we have the understanding of that particular phenomenon, we can control it. We can make good decisions. We can plan, right? The planning that we do on a day-to-day basis, or the planning we do in a company, it comes from our knowledge and understanding. And so the more we understand a situation, the more we understand the phenomena, whichever phenomena. I mean, the whole 4-year university study that you have brings you a whole list of phenomena, right? and that good understanding allows you to plan. And also in this page, it talks about collecting facts and interpreting them again, which is what I say, whether you are systematically collecting the data through qualitative, which is like interviews or observation. You use your eye, you listens with your ears to people's talking, and picked up all these qualitative facts, right? Or you give them a quantitative surveys and you picked up the quantitative facts, right? Such as with the indicators for each of the questionnaire that you design. One means you strongly disagree with that particular statements, and two means you disagree, and three means neutral, neither disagree nor agree. Four means agree, and five means strongly agree with that particular statements. And when they put down their responses on each of the questionnaire, you get the quantitative facts, which allows you to interpolate with statistics, statistical methods, or qualitative analysis. And what do you do with that interpretation of the statistical data or interpretations of that qualitative data? You build out pictures of what is going on, and of that particular issues around us, within us. Why is that so within us? Because research, although it is involving with some issue, and that particular issue, because we are human being, that particular issue it's both influencing that particular issue. It's both about that particular issue, and also it influences us. For example, if you work on strategy, the strategic implementation will, if you get wrong pictures of the strategies of the companies and the environments, you interpret it wrongly, SWOT was wrong, the decisions that you make based on your facts, based on your collecting facts would be wrong. And it will influence us. It will influence, because we get frustrated that we're not able to achieve the strategy, right? So this is intuitively, you will see that research is getting a good understanding about the world around us and also us. What is our feeling? Why do we know what do we think about? How do we think? I mean, sometimes we collect data for, we interview the managers. How do you think about this issue? Why is it? Why is this core value core proposition is designed in a way that influences the cognitive dimensions of consumers rather than emotional dimensions of consumers? And so this is all about us, within us, our feeling, our thinking, cognition, our behaviors, our competencies, our skills, our knowledge, our way of doing things, and also the world around us. How do we do that? Systematic data collection. From the data, we can, by analyzing the data qualitatively or by analyzing the data statistically, we gain information. And when we try to look at the informations for patterns and for their relationship and for explanation and for their ability to explain things and stronger relationship or correlation, we eventually gains the knowledge. So we are confident that something is working, and that something is working, it's core. It means that we are doing, we've proven it. We've proven the data, the phenomena in the way we think it is. And that is called strategy, or we call it hypothesis that is supported, or we call it validity. Something is valid. I mean, our proposition is valid. Our hypothesis has proven valid or has supported with the data. So the theory becomes supported with the data. That is called validity. Something is valid. So when something is valid, that is knowledge. That is knowledge. And with that knowledge, we can apply. We can apply. We know that marketing 4P, it's workable. It's working. We know that probably 4P need to be introduced together with another 3Ps. Maybe we know that a 3P, 4P, it's not sufficient. We need another 4Cs, right? Like communications rather than just the promotions. We need to communicate. We need to communicate our brand. We need to communicate our marketing, our messages through various channels, right? So this kind of validities, valid knowledge, right? It's very important. Even if knowledge is not valid, then we are using the wrong knowledge and the wrong applications, and we may invest wrongly, and that's money getting into the investments will be wasted. And this is how returns on investments come into the picture. And this is business research. It's not about only the research, it's about making return out of the research. And this is the core of strategic management. And this is the core of strategic marketing management. And this is the core of strategic brand management. And this is the core of all within us, the strategic human resource management. And this is the way of return, accounting, finance management. Right? So once you understand the research process, you can understand the whole thing. You can understand the whole disciplines. So research, business research, therefore, involves what? Involves multidisciplinary data, many data. The way we look at the data is very important. If you look at the data from a very narrow perspective, you're going to generate very narrow knowledge. So this page, we can pause and we can talk about it again and again for the whole day, and it never ends. But again, for teaching and for guidance and for coaching you, I gotta stop, right? So so when I stop, you don't stop. You continues to work on it, do the literature review, read more things, right? So I can't teach you so many things. And I also don't have sufficient memory. I do not know what kind of messages come into my mind when I talk to you. It could be different points in time, different space, different places, different things stimulated and come into, input into my brain and stimulated my neurons and synapses and then go into my brains to tell you the messages. And I do not know. I can't control. So therefore, you have to read more. Okay. So this is hopefully through the projects, you will slowly learn things. And again, the project is limited. Right? The whole semester is only a couple of weeks, and you can't really learn much. But I really want you to be the best of the best. I don't want you to scare. I want you to be courageous. Read, understand. Don't afraid. This is a new subject, right? And this is the most important subject in your bachelor degree and in your master degree that allowed you to get a PhD degree. This is the only one. So this is the most important course in your life. So I will give you, once you already understand what is the core of research, or probably, different pages will give you, different pictures of research and give you a little bit more spices and recipes and a little bit more pictures and sceneries, and so that you can understand what is going on in terms of research. Research, according to the Cambridge Dictionary, again, is similar to most of the teachers, and it's a detailed study of a subject and a phenomena. As I told you, any subject, you study a whole bunch of subjects in your bachelor degree, or in a PhD degree or in a master's degree, get into the detail. It's not a, it's the simple, straightforward, on the surface understanding. You gotta get into the detail. How do you get into the systematic? Data, theory, understanding what is going on. In the space sense, in the time sense, in the environment sense, in the relationship sense, in the rational sense, in the cognitive sense, in the emotional sense, in the relationship sense, and all the details. A detailed study of a subject, especially in order to what? To discover new information. And again, informations come from where I told you? Data. And you have to collect the data. So and data means what? You have to open your eyes for data. You have to open your ears for data. You have to open your mouth to talk to people for the data. You have to get the data for new information. And the new informations come from where? Come from the way you ask question. If you don't ask question in a new way, you have no new information. You will get the old information again and again and again. How are you going to do the research? And how can you get new information? How can you ask right questions and new questions? It comes from your knowledge. And then the only way is to reading. Now, literature reviews, you have to read and do and listen. I can't help you. And I also have limited versions in my brain. And I have to listen. And from once you have that new information, you probably then through a systematic analysis and understandings and processes of research, you will be able to reach a new understanding of that subject, of that particular phenomenon, and you become experts on it. So I hope in this course for once you finish, I hope. And if you can do that, I'll be very, very, very happy. And we know it's going to be, when you arrive at that particular state. I hope that you will be expert in one particular subject. When I say expert, means you're better than me. You're better than anybody else. You're the best of the best. Can you do that? And I hope you try all your best. That's why I say, when you form a team to work on the research, do not need to have a lot of teams members. 3 is the best. Don't go for too many, unless you are a very strategist and managers that are leaders that is able to manage the teams and able to influence everybody in your teams to for a good research. It is very difficult. Even I try all my best to influence you and to guide you and to teach you every time when I try to tell you all the details. And if I put it into the, into the examinations questions, you get frustrated. You lose confidence. You disappear. And so very difficult to motivate you, and you try to motivate your team. It's very difficult, right? So try, strategically, you can do a research. You can do a research, detailed study on what is a good number of members in a team for the students' project assignments in Mefalong University. Why is that so that 3 is the optimum or the best? Why 5 above or below 3 or below 3? It's getting worse. I mean, it's a lower performance. Why is that so? Emotionally, relationship-wise, thinking, intellectuals-wise, the ability to gain knowledge-wise, the ability to debate, to discuss, interact, engagement, in-depth discussion, diversities of understanding. All these are research, and I open you to have discussions. We will have a big project. It's part of your project rather than examination. So you should, along the process, try to master the subject. So I want all of you Focus on one subject. When we start to have a project that involves a particular subject of your choice, focus on that particular subject and make it experts that you are better than me, better than anybody who is teaching that subject in this university. That is what knowledge is, universities research is for. So in a practical way, research is a process of thoroughly detailed, looking from every angle: cognitive angle, behavioral angle, relationship angle, network angle, collaborative angle, core values, value co-creations angle, qualitative angle, quantitative angle, spatial angle, temporal, time domain angle, cross disciplinary angle, industries angles, nationals angle, market segments angles, whatever angle, individuals angle. Through thoroughly detail, examining it, look at from various perspectives, analyzing it through, qualitative analysis or statistical analysis, to understanding, is there any structures of patterns of relationship and that can allow you to explain the phenomena in a very unique, correct way, valid way, that you can understand the particular phenomena and that you can solve that particular problem, and that in the right 100% correct way. Of course, you cannot be 100%, but you can be very almost, 100% means your returns of infinity, right? Your returns on investments can be infinity, but I mean, your returns on investments is reasonably to your expectation. So means that you can almost accurately explain what is going on in that particular subject, in that particular phenomena. So this is a very, very thoroughly examining and analyzing the situational factors surrounding a given problem. What is involved in that particular problem? What is involved in that particular problem that the brain of that particular of this company it's not able to actively draw customers to repeat the brand engagements and brand purchase of your product and services. Why is that so? Right? The factors, it could be dealing with the messages, it could be dealing with the identities is unclear, it could be dealing with the communications is very confused, it could be dealing with the marketing strategy is not attractive, it could be dealing with your organizational support is to the brand management is not there, it could be dealing with your strategy is not clear in your organizations, that the brand has not been able to leverage that power the brand. And so this is very important. And when you do the research, examining, analyzing the particular situations, you will probably come up with different solutions, alternative solution, and suggest you to better deal with the problem. So practically, research gives you the leveraging abilities and power to make things better, to improve your performance of the company, or to solve that particular problem. Or maybe change the problem into a different form. Maybe it's not a problem, right? So change the perceptions of the people, in view of the problem. In a university setting, if you're students at a higher learning institutions or university, and so there is a particular requirements for research. What I have just spoken to you, there's a particular requirement. There is a particular requirement, and research is defined as original investigations, meaning you have to demonstrate that you do not copy the concept, or you do not copy anything methodological. Well, you could copy. You could copy methodological things, the methods of a particular teachers or from a rating, but then your applications of the methods to help you analyze and solve the problems or analyze the problem has to be different from that particular issue. Okay, so in a sense, it's original. It's not. We call you're not copying, and so it's trying to be as original, because originals give you the competitive edge from the business practical sense, from a strategy sense. Niche, your competitive edge, your competitive advantage, your differentiation, and that comes from originality. And it's not so much about innovation. Well, innovation, creativity is certainly important in research, but it's not about creating, to the extent of the of that requirements of creativity and innovations. But a research is it's a product. It's a knowledge product, and being a product, you could have innovation on it. And innovation on that innovative knowledge product, it means the knowledge. It means the knowledge, and that means the problems or the issue is the way you look at the problems, and the way you look at the issue, and the way you deal with the problem, and the way you deal with the issue, or the angle you look at it, or the domains you are exploring on that particular issues. The problems are different from other people. That is called original. Okay, so original, it have to be knowledge driven. It's not simple. Every page is not simple. Again, we can post this and challenge, you for this page until your PhD. Again, we have to stop for purpose of class facilitation. So again, university setting requiring research is defined as an original investigation undertaken in order to contribute to what? Contribute to the generations of knowledge. So you got to generate a good knowledge and understanding of that particular issue through a particular angle looking into the issue, through a particular way of analyzing the issue, through a particular way of looking into the issue, through a particular way of involving people to help understand the issue. Okay, things like that. The knowledge that you produce is new in the sense that the facts, the data that you collected, and the theory that forms, interpretation, the understanding, things like that, that can allow you to have a good explanations of that particular issues or understanding of that particular issue. That will gives you the explanatory explanation power. So your ability, when you have a good knowledge, it means that you can explain the phenomena well, you can explain the things well. You can when you can explain the phenomena well, you can apply in any way you like. Okay, because in engineering, we call the degree of freedom. The more knowledge you have, the more degree of freedoms you can manipulate. Just like a robotics arm, you can go from this direction to to make to twist the bottles, the cap of the bottles, or you can move from here, or you can move from this direction. So the degree of freedom of your rotational angles of X, Y, Z, and the data and zetas and whatever, it's in combinations can help you explain the phenomena really well. And because of that, when you can explain well, you can convince people. When you can convince people to from the strategist or strategic management perspective, it means that you have your employees or you have your customers are confident on you. That is what a strategist or CEO is for, to be able to communicate, and the communication is through the power of knowledge. The more knowledge you have, the more you can explain in a very clear manner. And the more you can explain in a clear manner, the degree of freedom, the more you can flexibly explain clearly and convince people. That is leaders. That is leadership followership. And you can look at a research on this perspective. How the leaders demonstrate leadership through knowledge that is in turns influencing the confidence levels of the employees. And when the employees have that confidence, they forms attitude towards you, and therefore they follow you, and therefore that is a theory of planned behavior. The intentions of doing and executing a job from the employee perspective is coming from the confidence, which comes from your knowledge and your abilities to give them the confidence. And that is research explained. So the knowledge produced is new in the sense that the facts, the interpretations, your facts, you gotta interpret it, you gotta analyze the facts and be able to interpret it qualitatively or statistically, and therefore eventually forms a theory that can help you explain, right? This is very, 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 very important, okay? Research typically involves inquiry or empirical or conceptual nature and meanings. Empirical means, anything that deals with everyday's life, things that you can see, things that you can feel, things that you can touch, things that you can hear, things that you are working on, so those are all data. Right, and data is everywhere, right? The data about strategies, the data about social cohesion, the theory about the data about or the field or the environments or the practical issues about social entrepreneurship to the community, how to involve and communicate it and get together as the forms of social enterprise. That is called empirical. And within that empirical, there is also a conceptual nature, right? How that social enterprise forms into the shape, and how that social enterprise grow, and in what speed they grow, and how they grow. That is the nature, conceptual nature. So you can have a systematic understanding into the conceptual understanding of that natures, or look into the data, empirical data, to see how you can become a specialist. Like as I tell you, to be a specialist, to be an expert in that particular field. And so this is very, very important. Okay, so research is all about that. Research may involve contribution, therefore, to intellectual infrastructures of that particular subject. So a particular subject, for example, social enterprising, social entrepreneurship. What is the shape of the entrepreneurship? What is shape? What is entrepreneur? What is the mindset in that particular community? What is the orientations of entrepreneurial activity? Who supports the entrepreneurial activity, and who engages in that entrepreneurial activity? And what is the scale of entrepreneurial activity? And what do they do in that entrepreneurial activity? All these factors and natures of the understanding getting together, that is called intellectual infrastructure of a subject of that particular discipline. That is called entrepreneurship. And social entrepreneurship is a discipline of entrepreneurship. Okay, so every subject, every discipline needs to have a good intellectual infrastructure. If you can gain a good understanding, a foundation, a knowledge, and a wisdoms of the infrastructure, intellectual infrastructures, how different factors involved that can help you understand social entrepreneurship from different angles, financial wise, whatever wise, social wise, strategic wise, marketing wise, relationship wise, social psychological wise, philosophical wise. That is called intellectual infrastructure. When you can reach that particular contribution, you are the expert. You are the subject expert. You are better than me. You're better than anybody else. This is what I hope you will become. And today's these lessons is short, but it's concise and it's straight to the point. It's focused. I hope you being focused and knowing what's going on, you put all your energies to that and make yourself expert. So that knowledge is has turned into intellectual infrastructures. Captures the intellectual infrastructure. So knowledge is not about a simple knowledge, right? As I already told you, data, we have a lot of data. Information, we have a lot of information. Knowledge, we have all kinds of knowledge. And research is about making use of every individual step, the data and the information and the knowledge in a very systematic, in a very intellectual, in a very academic, in a very, and as again, practical way. So when we talk about knowledge, you have to be able to become experts of that knowledge, which is to arrive at a theory, arrive at the intellectual infrastructure that allows you to understand that particular subject well. Well, in conclusion, it means you can write the whole book. So instead of reading people's book, you write your own book. You got it? So I hope by the end of this semester, I'm sure, every time in the big class, there is always, you know, uh, some of you are very motivated and try to, follow and be really, expert in that field. That is the reasons why I can exempt from you or from examinations, but I can pull up your ability to score A, which is you got to earn more than or equal to 90%. It's not easy, straightforward, right? Every pitch I told you, it's quite difficult. And it depends on my expectation. It depends on how I judge on it can be, it's very difficult, but I make it very also simple for you to reach B, 70% in the class. So it's not a big issue. I'm sure everybody will get a good grade, but requirements to get A, you got to demonstrate specialist, okay, specialization. So in its broadest sense, research is broader sense meaning, okay, in conclusion, in a broad conclusion, it's a systematic process that you go through from data collections to the way you see things interact with your mouth and touching, feeling, understanding through your brain, and through whatever you hear things or statistics or measurement, or using digital gadgets to measure things or whatever. It's a systematic process of data collections to analyzing it, turning into informations, and understanding the relationship patterns and structures to gain the systematic knowledge and infrastructures of your discipline, by which we know more about something than we did before we start the journey. So at the end of the research process, you end up better knowing the things than before. Then you start. If you can, so if you can do that, and if you can reach better, can reach more solid, you can reach in a more powerful way, you can reach in a more theoretical, intellectual, infrastructural, theoretical way, that proves that you're supposed to get in. And the more you change yourself and understanding more, you're great. Don't need me to tell you to correct. You know by yourself. If you were gonna research that originally, already 4P marketing, 4P is gonna win. It's gonna get you somewhere. I mean, it's not gonna win, but it's gonna get you somewhere. It's gonna give you some inner sales, and maybe not able to make you rich, but it's able to give you live past your day, and you already know about it, and you have done about it, and many people has talked about it, and the textbook written about it, and then you try to do it again. So what is the point? That means that your original 4P, and you end up after a long research period of the 4P indicates pretty much the same thing as your original. Not much gain of knowledge, and you know, and in that case, I'll give you a B. No matter how good you've done. You've done a very good job in statistically interviewed a lot of people, and you have done a very good job to written 200 pages, but probably you get B or B plus. You can't get A, but you're good, right? You're strong. I mean, you got B, right? There's nothing you can get below B, okay? And so that is a motivation for you, okay? So I'm trying to be. I'm a pragmatic guy because I'm a strategist. I'd work many years as a in strategies as in a company, big company, as a vice president for many years in big companies, and also as the general managers for Asia Pacific, and also as the technical managers for conglomerate $20 billion US companies, so strategies strategies means pragmatic, practical, at the same time theoretical, right? Be able to see things, observe things, organize things, and predicting things and making things happen. ROI, return on investment. Okay, so we can engage in this research process to contribute to the knowledge base. So you got to add on to your marketing 4P, right? Not the 4P, not the applications, applied research. Applied research is probably you're improving the way you implement the 4P, and that may be okay. That may be the way you implement. I mean, 4P will definitely get you somewhere, but the way we implement it, and the way we design it, and the way innovative on it, and the way we make use of it, which is the applied research, may be different. But it is not a pure research. Right? So, and particularly in university, we need you to contribute some original forms of knowledge base, which is the pure research is very important academically. And again, if you want to evaluate whether 4P is better than 3Ps, or is whether 4P applying to this industry is better than 4P applying to that industry, or that is evaluation. That's evaluation research, assess the value of something relative to something. And if you want to apply your 4P to your company to improve your product or your services, that is action research. But again, action research is not only about application. It's action research is almost always doing better than the applications or applied research, in a way that action research, in a way that there is a particular problem that has not much a theory or understanding at it, and you gotta be hands-on with that particular issue, and you have to deal with the actual problems with the people implementing on the real issue, and see how each of you can interact and help each other to form a good knowledge and understanding on what is going on, and so that it can improve the performances of that particular issues or problem, and therefore improve the productivity and increase the performances of that particular of your teams or of your departments or of your company. That is called action research. So action research is doing a research and take action based on your research finding. So that is called action research. Action on your research. Okay, so people would like to work on action research. You have to deal with a real problem. So you have to go to the company, maybe find out how you can improve the coral reef. A lot of coral reef problems on the oceans are deteriorating, and how you can innovation on using the 3D printings on the coral reef, and attract all the coral reef to grow, and the fish to come and becomes home to it, and demonstrating why is that so, and that is called action research. Action on your research. Okay, so in a sense, your objective, your intention is established to contribute to the body of knowledge, which is to the discipline, which is to the subject, intellectual infrastructure, the subject, the field, the discipline, such as entrepreneurship is a body of knowledge, it's a discipline. So your job is contributing to that particular area. And how you do that, you have to use data, and you have to collect a lot of data, and you have to analyze it, qualitatively, statistically, or with for us human being, we call reflection. Think about it. Look into the situation. Look into the detail of the data. What is going on? What the data tell us? How we feel about the data. That is called reflection, critical thinking. And then arrive at a theory, understanding of that particular information, which is reflection based on the data. And then the theory that we can apply it, action on it, experience, gain experience. Experience will turn into the data, and the data will turn into information, reflection, and information will turn into the theory, and the theory will turn into action. So we have data, information, theory, action, data, information, theory, action, so on and so forth. In this is called research process. So what is a research process? This is nothing but data, theory in a continuing process. Now, if you start from theory, reading a lot of intellectual materials such as literature review, and then you try to identify, for example, you read a lot of materials on 4P, and then you read a lot of materials on brand, and you try to combine brand management and 4P, or maybe 4P can help you to induce the brand stimulations for your customers, so that your customers can gain the brand images and brand associations in relationship to the services and the marketing that you have done, and so you kind of understand combinations of the brand theory and the 4P marketing theory and service theories to a new combined theory, and then you use that theory to action on it, or try to collect the data to see whether this theory work or not working. That is called deduction. So deduction means that you deduce a set of theory from existing sources of knowledge, and to demonstrate whether it works in the empirical data world. And induction is different. Induction starts from data. So there's no need to understand any theory. Just go straight forward into the empirical world. Go straight forward to the factory. Go straight forward to the production flow. And understand what's going on in production, how the materials being processed, and how the materials being flowing. The rate of flow. And the stocks work in progress, and you look into the work in progresses and the stock of flow, and the inventories at the end of the day, and then the number of people's working on it, and the machinery product capacities and the capability of the people, and then eventually you can start to generate a good understanding of what is going on in this system, and maybe and then from there you form a good understanding, and that good understanding means theory. So you develop theory from the data we call induction. When you suggest to collect the data based on the theory that you develop or you suggest from reading material, that is called deduction. Okay, so usually deduction from a theory and then all the way to find the data, usually it's quantitative. Okay, you can set up a questionnaire, but again, you also can have qualitative. Okay, you can interview people based on theory, okay, and get the detailed understanding of what is missing in the theory, or get a better understanding of the theory in detail. That is qualitative. So qualitative gives you a more detail. But when you start from data to the theory, it's mostly qualitative. But again, you can also be quantitative in the sense, not statistics, but in the sense of probably using artificial intelligence, neural networks, big data. Okay, so you can use the neural networks like a brain observing the data and slowly form the theories in our brain, and that is quantitative in the sense, right? And so this is very important. Okay, so objectives of research is therefore to gain familiarity of the phenomenon. Whichever phenomenon I've told you already, could be strategic issue, could be marketing issue, whatever, and to achieve a new understanding, new knowledge about it. And if you have not understood it at all before, and you start looking at it, that is called exploratory research. So it's trying to explore to see whether you can gain some knowledge of something that you have not understood before. Okay, if something you have already understood before, that is probably explanatory. You try to explain. Okay, use the data to help you confirm. All right? Hypothetical explanatory research. Objective research portray accurately the characteristics of a particular individual. So you try to identify which customer segments, which market segments, and how markets, what kind of positioning are best being utilized to help you gain the best return. And that kind of description, detail is descriptive knowledge. Okay. And to determine the frequency of why failure happens more, the frequencies of failure, why people are complaining more in these situations rather than in that particular in another particular situations, why this product has more sales than the other product. So you're trying to do some understanding and try to find out what is going on, and that is a diagnostic research. There's a hypothesis is explanatory explanation, and it gives you the explanatory power. And so this is explanatory research, or we call it hypothesis testing research. Okay, so in conclusion, we will stop in this page. Every slide, every page, every day, week, we try to probably 30 pages, and these slides are huge, which give you information. So some of your reading material, which we will discuss tomorrow, and for your assignments number one, and so this is a conclusion. This is a conclusion on a typical research process. So a research process is from this page is it starts with the understanding the natures of reality. So the nature of reality it's a philosophy. So when we say nature to reality or philosophy, research philosophy, it's very, very important. It's very difficult to understand, but I will try to put it into simple terms. For example, and this paradigm, we call it research paradigm, which is the philosophy of the nature of realities, or the way we approach understanding the nature of reality. We call it paradigms. Okay, so paradigms, we will talk about it later. So it is about the natures of the philosophy, or the philosophy of the research of how we understand the nature of the reality and how we approach understanding it and what kind of method we're going to use it. It's also determined by that philosophy. And this philosophy, you can see from this page, in roughly, you don't need to go into the detail. We will go into the details later. Roughly, you will see the two philosophy. One of them is positivism, and another one is interpretivism. What does it mean? It means that there are two different qualities, or two different types of world. There are two different worlds. So we are trying to investigate and examining and trying to study what is going on for that particular subject or phenomena, which is in that world. And there are two different worlds, okay? Two different types of world, and which help us to understand that particular subject. One world said that everything of anything we want to study, any subject or anything we want to study, strategy, brand, human quality, human being, well-being, your psychology, your sociology, whatever. It is positivism. Positivism says that you can understand it without the mind interventions on it. Meanings you can measure it. You can use the biological devices. You can use the the measurement instrument, electrical instruments, or you can measure and see what is going on in the brain. Why is the brain is successful, and why this strategy is working, why the strategy is not working. You can almost, you don't need to use there is no interventions from human interpretation. Everything can be measured objectively. But the problem is that most of the, in the physical world, in the biological world, in the chemistry world, in the physics world, you can do that. But in the social world, in the social psychological world, in the management world, mostly, well, you still can measure from your financial reports without we interpreting it. You can measure from the performance indicators. You can measure from, which is positivism. Okay, no need we to look into the detail. I mean, the indicators come from the way we interpret probably to some extent, but you can objectively, quantitatively define it so that the measurement is not determined, influenced by the mind. But on the other hand, most of the social management world is interpreted by human beings, interpreted by the managers. So the way we look at things differently. You look at this differently than I look at it. For example, when I teach you in this way, I think that probably this is one of the best way that I deliver the class material that allow you to go in depth and be motivated. But you look at it as demotivator. So you and me interpret things in a different way. That is called interpretivism, meaning the things that we look at it is really a subjective issue. So it means that we are, the way we interpret things, the way we analyze things, the way we make conclusion is really about interpretations of the human mind. So therefore, we have two different paradigms. One is positivism, that is objectively oriented world, and the other one is the world is subjectively interpreted. And this world, different world, because this can objectively understood, this is subjectively understood. So the research question, if you look at this world in this end, the research questions could therefore be more oriented towards why is that so? Why are you feeling so sad? Why this research, why this strategy failed? How is this strategy being implemented? Okay, and on the objectively, because it's already having a variable objective data, you can look at from the research question, you can pose or formulate research question that is more towards what is going on. How much more, that this company is performing better than another company? How much? Okay, so this is, so the different research questions really coming from the way we look at the research in a different way. And the research from this, to address the research question, and from the positivisms, we just form, and mostly we can form a hypothesis, such as, doing 4P is going to give you a better performance than without the 4P. That is a hypothesis, right? So you aim to establish a predictive causal links between 4P and the performance. And the other one is, if you want to understand the reasons why people are behaving like this, which you cannot get from the quantitative questionnaire, you have to ask a lot of questions, get into the details, interview, get closer to them, and trying to get a detailed understanding of why you are not motivated to study this, and get a good grade at this in your university study. And that involves you to get in details with the person, and the person will tell you a lot of detailed, in-depth story. We call rich, thick description. So you get a thick description and in-depth understandings of that particular interpretative world of that subject. Okay, and so this is the way we do the research. And how do we collect the data? If it's hypothesis, we can do survey, we can do experiments, we can do questionnaire, we can do structure observations, we can do quantitative analysis or reports or performance indicators, or if you want to get a hermeneutic, repetitive understanding and iterative understanding or in-depth understanding of what's going on through interviews and observation, you can do probably case study different cases, study different communities, study different people, different people, so different cases, and you can study what is, leadership cases. You can study, and you can study, and there are a lot of research methodologies and methods, such as grounded theory, meaning that grounded theory means the theories come from the data ground. So you actually develop the data from the ground of the data, meaning from your observation. Phenomenology, you can observe data from directly looking into the phenomena without looking into the theory. You can look directly into the phenomena, like mindfulness meditation, observation, look at it, hearing it, understanding it, and you should be able to see the structure and that and understanding the phenomena. We call phenomenology. Participant observation, you are a participant in that community. So if you want to understand the community, if you want to understand how the community promotes social and be successful in social entrepreneurial activity, you can say, hi, can I be a participant in your community, living in your community for a couple of weeks? And so you observe their culture, you observe the way of their understanding, you observe the way of their living, and then from there you understand how they do things and why they need to do in this way, and this is why and how, and you can answer your research questions. So the research methods of survey or case studies or the overlapping focus group, you can pull people together. For example, on the weekend, you can get the community's leaders and the members together and have a chit chat and communications focus group, right? You can do the similar things like look at the data and form the theory, or you can once you understand it, you can apply it, action research, and see whether it works or not, right? I think that is called intervention. You intervene the action research. And then from there, you can test and address your research question. So you can answer your research questions of why and how by case studies or focus groups or intervening action research or grounded theory, or you can answer the questions of what and how much by the survey, experiments, questionnaire, structures, observations, quantitative analysis, or focus group intervention, intervening action research or grounded theory, or to some aspect case study. So can also be used to look at the what and how much. And the what and how much is through this survey is mostly for theory testing, but you can also for theory development. As I already told you, artificial intelligence neural network can be used for theory development. So quantitative doesn't mean it's only for theory testing. It can use for theory development. Okay, and again, case studies, qualitatives are developing the theory, a good understanding, but you can also use for theory testing. Okay, but these are the dominant things. Okay, so this again, in conclusions of all the things that we need to do and you need to do, and you need to be expert. So to be expert, you need to understand the philosophy of research, which is called paradigm. You need to understand what kind of research question you need to pose. And you know that the research questions are interrelated to the paradigm, and you know how to address research question, and for either the rich understanding, the thick description, the detailed description, or just the hypothetical description, and you know the methods that you need to use, and you know the purpose, whether for theory testing or whether for theory